Let's also get into the agro space and let's touch on sugar, where the ISMA has reported 255 lakh tons of sugar that has been produced till the end of May 2012, registering a growth of 8% as compared to the same period last year. ISMA had projected that the production figure of 260 lakh tons in July 2012, which is going to be easily achieved according to them in the current sugar season. In other commodities and spices, we've seen turmeric rebound on drop in the new crop arrivals. Jeera prices also gained on tight supplies, although the weak export demand has kept the lid on the gains, but 1% of gains coming in for turmeric there. The decline, though, has come in for pepper on weak export orders, on India being the most costliest in the international markets. Shrikant, let me come to you and let's start with sugar first, where we have seen the production data on the higher side. Are you expecting further decline in prices because of those good numbers?
Yeah, actually, I think we spoke about this when they had announced the export, the OGL exports, and there was a lot of jubilation on the fact that things would look up because exports were allowed. At that time itself, I was a little apprehensive about it because the international prices anyway, I think at that time were around $560. Nothing much to show in terms of the domestic price. The 4 million tons that was in excess was anyway known, I think, in the beginning of the year itself. What actually happened was that we were unable to ship out the 4 million tons, and that's the reason why the OGL came into being. And even with the rupee declining, which theoretically means that exporters should be jumping on to the bandwagon and actually exporting whatever sugar they can get their hands on, it is not happening because you still have to move the sugar out of the country, which is a tough job. 2 million tons is a lot of sugar to move out. So having said that, I think that's the reason why you're seeing this decline. Most of the crushing is over. I think a little bit, maybe it's still there in some of the states, but these numbers are correct, and I think you're going to see further decline in sugar prices.
Vijay, you have been positive in the edible oil prices, especially CPO. How do you look at it on that today?
Manisha, with the decline in crude oil prices, there is a temporary profit taking on crude palm oil also, because the output from the fuel farming segment would come into the food segment. But overall, I would remain positive on edible oils because we are now 6 weeks away for the pre-festive season buying, and that would provide cushion here. And let's not forget the rupee is still weakening against the dollar, so that will actually cushion declines, if any. My guess is 570 levels would be a support to watch out for in the June series. Unless 570 is violated forcefully and prices actually start to sustain below 570, I don't think patient bulls have anything to really worry about too much in the absolute near term.
Let's also get in a view from Erin Fitzpatrick. He is joining us he's a commodities analyst and he's from Rabobank. I beg your pardon, is from Rabobank. Erin, hi, welcome to the show. Indonesia, India looking to tweak the soy palm oil import tariff. How do you see that changing the global trade and impact on prices?
Well, we have seen quite a few changes in the vegetable oil markets in terms of tax in various countries. Now, it started last fall with Indonesia, where they, in order to encourage further downstream processing domestically, increased the raw material or crude palm oil exports while lowering it for processed palm. And as a result, the refined imports of palm oil into Indonesia, or excuse me, into India have skyrocketed, and they reached a record high in February. So we're looking at some type of a move potentially by the Indian government. It hasn't been confirmed yet. However, to increase the base price for what they put their import tariffs on vegetable oils.
And in the latest being that there have been many reports on monsoon, there is lots of talk about the El Nino impact coming onto the Indian monsoon. What's the view from Rabobank on that?
Yes, right now we don't see, in terms of weather forecasts, El Nino in the short term. So we are expecting to have a normal monsoon this year. Of course, things can change over the next 3 to 6 months, but at this stage of the game, we're using normal weather conditions in our balance sheets and price forecasting.
Also, Erin, how are you looking at the industrial commodities like cotton, which have continued to slip in 2012? We did see record highs in 2011, but in 2012, what's your sense? Where is the cotton prices headed?
Well, we've been bearish on cotton for quite some time now. We maintain our bearish view on cotton prices. We're forecasting global ending stocks of cotton to remain at record large levels, and given the outlook for a relatively normal monsoon this season in India, we expect that the stocks of cotton will remain fairly bearish for cotton going into 12-13.
A final word really, Erin, and that really is from the concerns that we see coming in from Europe. The Chinese imports also have been very volatile, up in the first quarter, second quarter. We haven't seen too much of a raw material imported. Which commodity do you see the most impacted because of that?
Well, that's an interesting question, because when you look at agricultural commodities, we have not seen a slowdown of imports by China. We've actually seen an increase across the board. Both corn and wheat imports for the first 4 months of 2012 into China have increased by more than 1 million tons from a year ago. Soybeans up more than 3 million tons. Even pork imports continue to rise into China. So it's quite the opposite when you look at agricultural commodities. And an economic slowdown, although maybe it has a different impact on metals or energy or other hard commodities, we really don't see that type of an impact trickling through to the agricultural commodities.
All right, Erin, we'll let you go at that. So bearish non-agro, but agro is one space where Rabobank continues to bet on. Shrikant, when you come to spices, how is pepper looking to you? Because while the global demand is there, but India clearly is costlier.
Yeah, see, again, we are coming back to the same numbers that we had spoken about earlier. And while pepper was bullish some time ago, it continues, it still shows a buy signal. But at the end of the day, 38,000 is what we're looking at buying it for, 40,000. And but having said that, I think there's a number like 36,500 or so, which is very critical, because that's the kind of last support actually for pepper. So if it manages to hang on in here and reach the 40,000, okay, you will see it still oscillating between that 38 to 40,000. If it declines, then I think 36,500 is something we may want to look at seriously, because if that gets breached, then it's only then that you can actually say that pepper might start coming down.
Okay. One final word from you, Vijay, and this one is on Mentha. The continuous decline that one has been seeing, how do you look at the prices in future?
Manisha, the uptrend clearly remains fractured, and I would actually start to look for short selling opportunities. Give me another 45-50 rupees on the upside, and I would start venturing out with small size shorts at 12.50. I think my stop loss for holding these shorts would be 12.88 levels, and I expect the 1200 mark to be breached all over again. Probably hit him in the 1150 levels.
All right, Vijay, Shrikant, thank you so much for joining us.